Twain once said that when there's a gold rush, it's a good time to be in the pick and shovel business. Today we look at the rapidly evolving markets in the marijuana green rush in our Cannabusiness Chronicles.
Welcome back, everyone. 23 after the hour, and Mark Twain also once said, suppose I were an idiot and suppose I were in Congress, but then I repeat myself. And maybe that's a lesson to be learned for our story today. We've got Kaliko Castille joining us. How you doing, Kaliko?
Quite well, my friend. So good to be back. So good to be back.
Good to have you here. Kaliko was the first intern I ever had when I was working for NORML, and now he's back. He's been going through the trials of trying to be a marijuana entrepreneur and some of the roadblocks that get thrown in the way, regulatory-wise and backstabbing-wise, and all the things that can happen. But we're going to concentrate on the positive because Kaliko's always been about the positive. So moving forward, man, what's new?
This is definitely a transition period. I was running a marijuana dispensary for a while called Brightside here in Southeast Portland, and we still technically are going to hopefully be operating. We've just been waiting to get our license from the Oregon Health Authority, and that's been quite a very interesting process. But barring that happening, I've definitely got other things that I'm looking at doing. I've been wanting to get back into podcasting. Obviously I started as an intern almost a little over 3 years ago now with NORML SHOW Live. My how time passes. So that's been something I've been itching to do because I haven't done it since 2012, almost 2 years, when I left to start a political action committee when OCTA made the ballot in 2012, and went on to start Oregonians for Law Reform, and we raised some money for the Measure 80 campaign. And I was just thinking, now that we're back into this, just how much I miss it. And I've been thinking about starting a podcast, and I want to call it KalikoVision. A lot of people these days ask me, "Oh, is that like CalikoVision?" when they hear my name,
right?
And it's not. For those of you who don't know, CalikoVision is a COLECO, some video game like Atari era. And I'd never played it, never heard of it, but I've been hearing it all the time. So
the only similarity between the two is the L and the O.
That's right.
That's it. They're completely different otherwise.
So I decided to buy KalikoVision.com, spelled like my name, and I wanted to start it as a blog and a podcasting site. And I basically wanted to get back into the things that I love, politics, cannabis, entertainment, news, culture, just basically the everyday things of life. I just really want to get back out there and start to use my contacts, and obviously this is about this segment's typically devoted for cannabis business and that sort of industry and where it's evolving, and where I find myself right now is at the ground floor of a really wild industry, and it's a really great time to be around. And though I may not be tied down to anything right now, it's actually a super exciting place to be because I'm looking around at all my friends who are doing all kinds of great stuff, and there's so many possibilities and so many things happening out there that I definitely think that it's time that I want to start to build something else. And I'm starting to think that I want to build my own brand, as well as I've been hopefully thinking about coming back here and lending a little help when I can to 420 Radio now that I have a little more time on my hands. So definitely just got a lot of things that I'm looking forward to getting back into now that I've taken my time off.
Right on. Well, speaking of pick and shovels, you were talking about how of all of the aspects of the marijuana industry that perhaps the retail side is the least attractive at this point.
I would say for those people who want to have a return on their investment quickly, yeah, absolutely. Because you have to figure that already as a regular business dealing with taxation, you're already going to be kind of batting down when you're a new business needing to pay payroll and take care of all of the other costs of doing business. And then when you're having to figure that every dollar that comes in is automatically less because of taxes going out, it's a lot different with the marijuana business because you're subject to this arcane rule called 280E in the IRS tax code, which basically was made for cocaine dealers who are riding off their yachts, which basically says if you're dealing with an illegally or a controlled substance that you cannot write off the cost of doing business. So the normal things that a business could write off, like payroll, the cost of rent, electricity, all of the things that make a store run, we can't write those off simply because we're in the marijuana industry. So there's just a lot of things like that. Dealing with a bank account, we had a bank account closed down, had to open up through another bank. There's things like that going on. There's just a lot of small details that when you're the pioneers in this industry trying to make your way through the hurdles and over the hurdles and through the hoops, that since no one else has done it, someone's going to get tripped up, and those first people who are going to do it are going to be the ones. And
it's like the beginning of a steeplechase, man. When they first hit that first little berm with the mud, man, the first few people go down.
Oh, absolutely. So it's just definitely, it's been interesting seeing everything from that aspect. And working as an activist for several years, and being really committed to this movement and wanting to see it move forward and become a mainstream industry just like any other, I'm super excited to see things moving forward. It's rough, having to be on the ground and dealing with that stuff, but it's totally worth it if you figure the alternative is the possibility of going to jail.
Yeah, it sure beats that. Kaliko Castille at Wiz